Find elegance and raw power, making it a legend among full-size muscle cars. Number 36, the 1969 Mercury Cougar Eliminator 428CJ. The Mercury Cougar Eliminator wasn't your typical muscle car. This was Mercury's answer to the Mustang and Thunderbird, blending luxury with raw power. Within the mighty 428 Cobra Jet V8, under the hood, this Cougar wasn't just purring, it was roaring a 390-plus horsepower. Even though it was officially rated at 335 HP, Mercury only rolled out 302 of these 7-liter big block monsters in the Eliminator trim, making it a rare and sought-after gem. If you're lucky enough to find one in mint condition, you could be looking at a price tag of around 70 grand, which shows just how legendary it has become over time. A true muscle car icon, the Eliminator proves that sometimes a little luxury and a lot of horsepower can coexist pretty perfectly. Number 35, the 1969 Mercury Cyclone 428CJ. The Cyclone Cobra Jet might be the undercover hero of '69's muscle scene. It didn't get the fame of Ford's Torino or Dodge's Super Bee, but to some, that's what makes it special. Equipped with Ford's hot 428 Ci V8, the Cyclone CJ was secretly kicking out closer to 400 HP, even though it was advertised as 335 HP. This beast could clock 14-second quarter miles, a real feat back then. Only about 2,175 Cyclone CJs rolled off the assembly line, making it rare and thrilling to spot today. The Cyclone CJ was a powerhouse wrapped in a cloak of mystery, capturing the rebellious spirit of the muscle car era for those who preferred a car that spoke softly but carried a big stick under the hood. Number 34, the 1969 Chevrolet Nova SS 396. Chevy's Nova SS 396 was the car for anyone wanting power without the show-off factor. It looked like an ordinary compact, but pop the hood and there was a ferocious 396 SID V8 engine waiting to roar. With the SS package, the sleeper could jump from 0 to 60 in no time, often surprising the high-end muscle cars it faced. For those who wanted even more muscle, Chevy offered the L78 engine upgrade, taking the Nova to an astonishing 370 HP. Car and Driver aptly described it as the junior Chevy with the senior engine. It was fast, powerful, and balanced. 55% of its weight was on the front axle, a rare setup among muscle cars that let the Nova unleash its fury on the streets with ease. Number 33, the 69 Dodge Charger 500 Hemi. This car was Chrysler's attempt to conquer NASCAR, and it's packed with raw, ground-shaking power. The Charger 500 was built with aerodynamics in mind, swapping out the split grille and reworking the rear to streamline its shape. But let's talk about that engine. When the 426 Hemi was fired up, it didn't just growl, it roared. The sound was intense, thanks to its big V8 cylinders pushing out an almost mythic rumble. Testers loved its agility on the street, especially with its manual transmission that could hit the quarter mile in just over 13 seconds, topping out around 104 miles per hour. This automatic version lagged just a touch, but still gave a thrilling performance. This wasn't just a race car in disguise. It handled city traffic and highway cruising with equal ease. Yet, despite all this, the Charger's 500 racing record didn't match the car's promise. So, Chrysler didn't stop there. They went on to design the famous Dodge Daytona with a wild wing and nose cone, taking things even further in the aero wars. Still, the Charger 500 remains one of the loudest, proudest muscle cars to ever hit the street. Number 32, the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. When people saw this beast, they thought it would be Ford's answer to the Corvette, a street racer. But the Boss 429 had a different mission: NASCAR. Ford needed 500 units to qualify the engine for racing, but they chose to drop it into the newly styled '69 Mustang. The 429 cubic inch V8 was a powerhouse designed for high revving tracks, complete with a Holley 4-barrel carb and aluminum high riser. But here's where things got interesting. The engine was all about top-end speed, not the drag strip grunt muscle car fans expected. It needed those revs to really show off, which meant it wasn't as quick as off the line as some other big block monsters. There were even early issues with the valve springs, which limited the RPM and prevented the engine from showing its full potential. Ford put effort into making the Boss handle well, giving it a wider track and better suspension. But despite this handling boost, fans were a bit disappointed with its quarter-mile times. The Boss 429 sounded incredible though, a high-revving roar that was completely different from the low growl of the Charger. Ford stopped the Boss 429 after 1970, leaving enthusiasts with a car that sounded amazing and handled beautifully but never quite became the street warrior fans expected. Number 31. The 1969 Plymouth GTX 440. The 1969 Plymouth GTX 440 was a classic powerhouse, known as Plymouth's first all-in-one performance model. The GTX shared a body with the rougher Roadrunner, but came dressed in finer details like chrome trims, double stripes, and a high-end interior. Standard was the Super Commando 440 engine, a 375 horsepower big block V8 that made it more than capable on the track. While the optimal 426 Hemi engine could take the GTX to even higher levels of performance, it was pricier, so only a select few went for it. The GTX's sophisticated look set it apart, showing that a muscle car could have both style and power. Number 30. The 1969 Dodge Super Bee 440 6-pack. Then, we've got the Dodge Super Bee 440 6-pack, which was Dodge's answer to Plymouth's Roadrunner. Built on the Chrysler Bee's platform, the Super Bee became an instant hit for its raw power and affordability. If you chose the A12 package, your Super Bee came with a 440 cubic inch engine, 3 carburetors, aka the 6-pack, and a look that screamed power, a flat black hood with 6-pack lettering, and a liftoff hood design. It was a bit longer and heavier than its Roadrunner cousin, but that didn't stop it from dominating on the streets. With an impressive 390 horsepower. For a true performance experience, most drivers went for the 4-speed manual transmission, paired with a Hurst shifter that made gear changes smooth and precise. In terms of collectible value, the 6-pack Super Bees remain slightly more affordable than the rare Hemi models, making them a popular choice for muscle car enthusiasts today. Number 29. The 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge. With its bright orange paint, cool rally wheels, and iconic decals, the Judge turned heads before it even started. But the real magic was under the hood. The Ram Air 3 V8 engine. Fire it up, and you've got a throaty, aggressive sound that dared anyone to try to keep up. Pontiac didn't hold back on style either, adding a rear spoiler, a hood scoop, and a Hurst shifter, making it a dream for young drivers looking for a statement ride. The Judge went from 0 to 60 in a flash, hitting the quarter mile in 13.2 seconds at 104 miles per hour. Number 28. The 69 Plymouth Roadrunner 440 6-pack A12. The Plymouth Roadrunner was already a beast, but the 440 6-pack, known officially as the A12 package, took things to another level. Imagine pulling up to a stoplight and hearing that deep, thunderous idol of a 440 cubic inch V8 just waiting to be unleashed. This wasn't just a sound, it was a statement. 390 horsepower and 490 pound-per-foot of torque rumbling under a fiberglass hood. Held in place by 4 pins for that all-business look. When you floored it, 3 Holley carburetors kicked in, 1 2-barrel for everyday driving, and 2 extra 2-barrels for that full-throttle roar. Push the pedal and you'll feel a wave of power as the Roadrunner lunged forward. In a test run, drag racer Ronnie Sox hit 111.8 miles per hour in the quarter mile, clocking it at 12.91 seconds, a serious time for a factory car. Plymouth made fewer than 1,500 of these coupes and hardtops, and when you heard one scream down the track, you knew it was something special. The Roadrunner A12 was like a one-hit wonder in music. It arrived, made an unforgettable impression, and then Plymouth stopped production, leaving fans wanting more. Number 27, the 69 Chevy Camaro ZL1. The 69 Camaro ZL1 was a special breed. Chevy built this Camaro for one purpose: to dominate the drag strip. The ZL1 had a unique all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 engine, producing over 500 horsepower. Chevy rated it at 430, but insiders knew it was more. And at just 500 pounds, it was as light as Chevy's smaller V8s, making it incredibly powerful and fast. Imagine this: you're at a drag race and you hear the ZL1 rev up, a high-pitched roar that's sharper and more aggressive than the Roadrunner's low rumble. Equipped with a 410 Posey rear end, this car could launch hard and fast. Straight from the factory, it could run low 13s, but with some added headers, slick tires, and fine-tuning, it could blast through the quarter mile in the 11s, even hitting speeds of 122 miles per hour. But all that performance came at a steep price. Just the engine added $4,160 to the sticker, making the ZL1 cost a whopping $7,200, a huge amount in '69. Chevy instantly struggled to sell these cars, but the rarity and sheer power of the ZL1 quickly made it a legend. Today, it's a collector's dream. Number 26, the Dodge Coronet RT440. Launched in September 1968, this muscle car wasn't shy. It had a loud, aggressive style, backed by serious performance. It came with Dodge's Super B trim, a popular choice thanks to its high-powered 383 Magnum engine. But if you really wanted to shake things up, there was the RT Road Track model, offering a mighty 440 cubic inch V8. The Coronet 440 wasn't just fast. It had that classic deep, rumbling exhaust note that muscle car fans dreamed about. A low growl at idle, which turned into a thunderous roar when the pedal hit the floor. For added flair, the Coronet came in vibrant colors like bright red, green, and turquoise, with the iconic bumblebee stripes wrapping around its rear. It had a vinyl roof and an option for bench or bucket seats, allowing a touch of customization in a raw muscle machine. Inside, the rally suspension and heavy-duty shocks made sure the car handled well, but let's be honest, it was the sound that sold this beast. Number 25, the 69 Chevrolet Chevelle SS. Marketed as America's most popular midsize car, it came with sleek front-end styling, chrome headlights, and a new grille, making it both stylish and menacing. But the real heart of the Chevelle SS was its engine, a 396 cubic inch V8 that packed 325 to 375 horsepower. When you turned the key, this car let out a rumble that was more refined than the Coronet's raw roar, but it had its own signature sound that was unforgettable. For those who wanted to push the limits, Chevrolet offered the L72 420 engine, a massive 425 horsepower powerhouse that only a few lucky buyers got to experience. Every push of the accelerator sent a deep, throaty rumble from the exhaust, a sound that still resonates with the car enthusiasts. And if you were lucky enough to see a special Copo Central Office production order Chevelle, you'd know it was built to dominate. Only a handful were made, and they were sold through select dealerships like Yenko Chevrolet, famous for their street beasts. Even the Chevelle station wagons offered unique features, like a dual-action tailgate, proving that Chevy was all about blending functionality with style. Number 24, the 1969 Buick Grand Sport GS. Buick wasn't playing around in 1969. even though they weren't into flashy special editions like Chevy or Pontiac. While everyone else at General Motors was dropping special models, Buick kept it cool and sophisticated with the GS 400. This model came with standard hood scoops, but they weren't just for show, they had a cool air induction system. When you revved up that V8, the twin snorkel air cleaner kicked in, boosting power and torque. And that was only the beginning. Buick offered two performance packages for the GS 469, Stage 1 and the extremely rare Stage 2. Stage 1 turned things up with 345 horsepower, a high-lift cam, and exhaust big enough to let that V8 roar. If you were lucky enough to get your hands on a Stage 2, you were looking at 360 horsepower and an even bigger punch. One thing that set the Buick apart was its smoothness. This was a muscle car that didn't shake and rattle at idle like its competitors. When you put your foot down, the engine responds with a powerful, satisfying growl, but keeps things smooth like a performance car. That's also a bit of a gentleman. Number 23, the 1969 Chevy Corvette. This car was nothing short of an icon. With its sleek aerodynamic design, it's easy to spot on the road. When you opt for the coupe or convertible, this car is engineered to perform. At its heart is a robust 350 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering 300 horsepower. But if you're craving more power, you could step up to a heart-pounding 435 horsepower version. When you hit the gas, the engine comes alive with a deep, rumbling growl that's instantly recognizable. The sound is a symphony of raw power, resonating through the streets as you accelerate. And with disc brakes on all four corners, you can be confident that you'll stop just as impressively as you go. The Corvette isn't just about speed, it offers a driving experience that combines power with a touch of sophistication, making every ride an event. Inside, the Corvette is decked out with gauges for everything, including oil pressure and tachometer readings, giving you all the info you need at your fingertips. It's designed to be comfortable and user-friendly with a steering wheel that feels just right in your hands. The smooth operation of the windshield wipers and the improved ventilation systems means that even at high speeds, you can enjoy the ride without distractions. Number 22, the 1969 Dodge Dart 440. On the other end of the spectrum, we have the 1969 Dodge Dart 440, a car that's a bit more of a sleeper. At first glance, it may look like a simple compact car, but it's hiding some serious muscle under the hood. Dodge took a hefty 440 cubic inch V8 and dropped it into this mid-sized body, producing a whopping 375 horsepower and 440 pound-per-foot of torque. The Dart 440 has a sound all in its own, a thunderous rumble that you feel in your bones. When you fire up that engine, it's like a storm brewing. You know something powerful is about to happen. With a quarter-mile time of around 12.7 seconds, this car isn't just about looks, it's all about performance. It's the kind of car that makes other drivers think twice when they hear that powerful engine roar beside them. While it may not boast the same polished finish as the Corvette, the Dart's unassuming appearance only adds to its charm. It's a car that lures you in with its understated design, then surprises you with its fierce capabilities. Just remember though, that with all that power comes the need for respect, especially when it comes to stopping. Number 21, the 69 Shelby GT 500. When it comes to muscle cars, the 69 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 stands out, not just for its looks, but for its thunderous sound of its engine. This car took the iconic Mustang to a whole new level, featuring a sleek, aggressive fastback design that turned heads on the road. At the heart of this beast was the powerful 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8 engine, with a factory-rated 335 horsepower and a massive 440 pound-per-foot of torque. It had enough muscle to make any driver's heart race. Fire up that V8 and you're greeted with a rumble that's both fierce and exhilarating. The deep growl is unmistakable, setting the stage for what this car can do. You can feel the raw power as you hit the gas, launching you from 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds. A remarkable feat for a car from the late 60s. Whether you opted for the classic 4-speed manual or the automatic transmission, the sound of that engine roaring to life was music to any car enthusiast's ears. Sadly, 1969 marked the end of an era for the original Shelby GT500. Carroll Shelby's partnership with Ford came to a close, marking this model a rare gem that collectors cherish today. With its distinct style, aggressive sound, and impressive performance, the 1969 Shelby GT500 remains a top pick for those who love the thrill of the drive. Number 20. The 1969 Plymouth Barracuda. Now, let's talk about the 1969 Plymouth Barracuda, a car that evolved from its humble beginnings into a true muscle contender. The first-gen model didn't quite pack a punch, but this changed dramatically with its second generation. By 1969, the Barracuda entered muscle car territory, featuring new V8 options, including the powerful 340 cubic inch small block engine. When you fire up the Barracuda, the sound is a blend of attitude and confidence. With a deep, throaty rumble that can turn heads, the Barracuda exudes power without even moving. While it may not have the same reputation as some of its competitors, the Barracuda has its share of unique features, like the rare mod top, a vinyl roof with a floral design that added a touch of flair. The sound of the engine, though, is what truly matters, and the Barracuda delivers a satisfying growl that can make any drive a thrilling experience. Number 19. The 69 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am Ram Air 303. In 1969, Pontiac felt the heat of competition, needing to up its game in the V8 engine wars. Enter the Ram Air V, designed for maximum airflow and raw power. This beast of an engine featured mirrored ports with cleverly spaced intake valves that allowed for an impressive intake of air, making the engine purr like a lion ready to unleash its roar. The Ram Air V came in several sizes, both the 303 cubic inch version with the rare gem of the bunch with only about 25 ever made. Imagine the thrill of hearing that engine come to life, its growl promising unmatched performance. This power plant was built for racing, boasting a design so aggressive that it could outflow even the legendary Hemi engine. Though at low RPMs, it lacked torque. Unfortunately, fate dealt a cruel hand. A combination of regulatory changes and production issues meant that this powerhouse never hit the streets in large numbers. However, those lucky enough to find one day can truly appreciate the rarity and the legendary sound that embodies the spirit of American muscle. Number 18. The 69 Dodge Dart 440 Hemi Magnum GTS. Now, let's shift gears to the 69 Dodge Dart 440 Hemi Magnum GTS. As the muscle car era faced a slowdown, Dodge pulled a rabbit out of its hat by cramming a 440 cubic inch Magnum into their compact Dart. Think of it like a small car packing a punch with 375 horsepower and 440 pound-per-foot of torque, unleashing an engine growl that could wake the neighbors. But this wasn't just about power, it was about a thrilling driving experience. With a quarter-mile time of just 13 seconds right off the showroom floor, the Dart became a favorite for those wanting speed and style without breaking the bank. You could go from 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, a feat that still impresses car enthusiasts today. The roar of the Hemi engine as you accelerate was nothing short of music to the ears of any muscle car fan. Dodge's decision to keep things simple meant no power steering or brakes, leading to a pure driving experience. With its powerful engine and striking looks, this car was all about performance, delivering serious bang for your buck at a price that today would translate to about $22,000. Just imagine cruising in a Dart, its engine roaring as you leave your mark on the pavement. Number 17. 69 Oldsmobile 442 W30. Now, this car maintained a classic look reminiscent of the previous year's model, but sported some exciting updates. The front grille design was sleeker, and the trunk now featured stylish inlets for the taillights. Under the hood, the 442 roared to life with a powerful 455 cubic inch V8 engine delivering a staggering 380 horsepower. Imagine the sound of that engine deep and rumbling like a lion's growl, announcing its presence on the road. The performance was thrilling, with 0 to 60 achieved in just 5.9 seconds and a quarter-mile run completed in a jaw-dropping 14.03 seconds. This 442 was a perfect mix of speed and style with functional hood scoops that added to its aggressive stance. Each time the accelerator was pressed, the engine unleashed a symphony of power that sent shivers down the spine of any car enthusiast. Number 16. The 69 AMC Javelin SST. The 69 AMC Javelin SST was a fierce competitor in the pony car market. Designed by the talented Dick Teague, the Javelin offered a sporty vibe that was hard to resist. With its front-end engine, rear-wheel drive layout, it was built for those who craved excitement. The Javelin was versatile, available in various trims and engine options. But let's focus on the sound that truly defined this muscle car. When equipped with the 390 cubic inch V8, the Javelin's engine erupted with a thrilling roar that can make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. The exhaust note was a blend of power and aggression, captivating anyone within earshot. The Mod Javelin package introduced a host of eye-catching features, including a roof-mounted spoiler and vibrant paint options like neon blue and orange. The additions weren't just for show, they reflected the youthful spirit of the times, encouraging drivers to stand out and make a statement. The interior also got an upgrade with stylish instrumentation that complemented the car's performance-oriented nature. Number 15. The 1969 Chevy Impala SS427. In '69, the Chevy Impala still offered the Super Sport SS option package, but it came exclusively with one of two powerful 427 cubic inch V8 engines, earning it the nickname SS427. Despite its impressive pedigree, the Impala SS427 struggled against the rising popularity of smaller, lighter performance cars like the SS Camaros and Chevelles. Consequently, 1969 marked the end of the Impala SS era, with only about 2,500 units produced. Following this year, the Impala was primarily seen as a family sedan, yet the SS427 remained a formidable vehicle with a legacy of power. The exterior of the SS427 featured the standard Impala trim, which included narrow chrome strips running from front to rear and around the wheel wells. Unique to the SS427 were distinguishing features such as an SS emblem on the front fenders and deck lid, replacing the traditional Chevy bow tie in the grille. This grille stood out with its blackout treatment, complemented by redline tires that many SS427s sported. Contrary to popular belief, hideaway headlights were not an option for the SS427. They were exclusive to the Caprice model. While there could be exceptions to this rule, no documented cases existed of an Impala being factory-fitted with hideaway headlights.
Chevy Impala.
Number 14. The '69 Ford Torino Cobra. Produced from '68 to '76, the Ford Torino was designed to compete in the intermediate market segment and was closely related to the Mercury Montego, initially an upscale version of the Ford Fairlane. The Torino became the main designation for Ford's intermediate line by 1970, completely replacing the Fairlane name. The '69 Torino lineup expanded, introducing high-performance versions like the Torino Cobra, which featured powerful engines such as the 428 Coupe in Cobra Jet and the 429 Coupe in Super Cobra Jet. The '69 models retained much of the styling from 1968, but with some updates in the grille and taillights. The Cobra, specifically marketed without the Fairlane name, emphasized performance, coming equipped with the 428 4V Cobra Jet engine, competition suspension, and distinct styling cues like a blacked-out grille and hood lock pins. The engine options for the Torino were revised, with most models featuring a large 250 coup in i6 as standard. While the Cobra models were fitted with the powerful 428 CJ engine, this engine could be ordered with or without a Ram Air induction package. The Cobra also included features like a non-functional fiberglass hood scoop, which became functional if the Ram Air induction was specified. Despite a decline in overall Torino production, with just shy of 130,000 units made in 1969, the Torino Cobra positioned itself as a performance-oriented vehicle, directly competing with the likes of the Plymouth Roadrunner. The Torino GT maintained its appeal with upscale features, and performance focus captured the spirit of the muscle car era.
Get ready, because we're diving into 50 of the rarest muscle cars ever produced. From legendary icons to nearly forgotten gems, these cars will make any gearhead's heart race. Let's start with a true classic. Number 50, 1969 and a half Dodge Super BA12. First up, 1969 and a half Dodge Super BA12. This car was Dodge's take on a budget-friendly muscle car. It is essentially a rebadged version of the Plymouth Roadrunner and a high-performance version of the Dodge Coronet. Dodge wanted to create a car that didn't cost very much but could go the distance, and they nailed it. The Super B has great looks and a performance to match. This Super B has a top speed of 117 miles per hour but can reach 30 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. The A12 package in this car also meant that it handled well, and with an exterior that looked inspired by the racy cars and Hot Wheels, there was no reason to fall in love with this car. If you couldn't afford premium options like the Dodge Charger RT, Plymouth GTX, and Coroner RT, then you'd fall in love with this Super B. At only $4,000 in 1969, Dodge was practically giving these cars out. But this is only one out of 50 of the rarest muscle cars ever. Number 49, 1977 Pontiac Can-Am. Next on the list is the Pontiac Can-Am, a beautiful car forced into rarity by chaos. The Pontiac Can-Am was unique, classy, luxurious, and clean. The fact that all 1,133 Can-Ams came exclusively in cameo white made. This car was a quiet luxury that many rich folks at the time just loved. The Can-Am was made for classic car cruising, so it came with a TH400 automatic transmission, driving an incredibly easy experience. It's no wonder so many people wanted to get their hands on his car. As many as 2,500 orders were made even before the Pontiac Can-Am went into full production. However, disaster struck midway. One of the most attractive and unique features of the Pontiac Can-Am was its fiberglass spoiler that added the cherry on top of a deliciously white cake. After only 6 months and 1133 Can-Ams, the mold Pontiac was using to create its unique fiberglass spoiler got damaged. Instead of replacing it, GM executives decided to can the Can-Am project, ending the run of this fantastic vehicle and pushing it into the realms of muscle car rarity. While the Can-Am is nothing short of incredible, it doesn't come close to this next car that Ford calls the Boss. Number 48, 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. At number 48, we've got the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Ford had big plans for a new 429 Ci V8 engine, aiming to use it in NASCAR. But to make it legal for racing, they had to sell enough to regular folks who wanted to take it for a spin on the streets. However, NASCAR and the streets don't mix well. The Boss had a beastly engine that was better at tearing through tracks than everyday cruising. The factory claimed the engine churned out 375 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, but in reality, it was way more ferocious than that. Sure, it could be a bit grumpy when you weren't driving like you stole it, but hit the gas, and it unleashed a lot more power than advertised. Ford's Boss is still one of the coolest Mustangs ever to hit the road. A true legend with an attitude problem, but then don't all Bosses come with that? If you're looking to buy this rude dude at an auction, then be ready to cough up a lot of dough. One Boss could easily go for $330,000, and someone bought one for $605,000. Next is another super rare vehicle from one of GM's more luxurious brands. Number 47, 1987 Buick GNX. The 1987 Buick GNX is 47th on our list. In June 2024, a car thief in Boston happened on a GNX like this one and just couldn't resist driving it. Using a screwdriver, this thief was able to break into the Buick and went on the joyride of a lifetime. The thrill will be short-lived as the same GNX ended up on a flatbed the next morning. The joyriding thief had crashed it into 20 other vehicles before leaving the car and leaving it in terrible condition. You can imagine the horror on the owner's face seeing his incredibly rare car totaled. But that's not the worst part. This Buick GNX had already spent a full year at a workshop for restoration that set its owner back $150,000. If restoration cost that much, you can imagine how much he spent buying the car itself. Classic.com values the car at $174,528, but at the right auction, it could go for way more. What makes the Buick GNX so expensive and mouth-watering to drive? It is essentially a mysterious black car that churns out more than its manufacturers give it credit for. On top of that, you wouldn't know this was a sports car unless you took a closer look at it, or you were really into cars. If Batman was an oil baron, he'd probably drive a Buick GNX. The GNX clocked 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds and had a top speed of 125 miles per hour due to government restrictions. Add its 300-plus horsepower and limited production and dealer markups, and you'll understand why the Boston car thief deserves life imprisonment. However, the GNX looks like a poor man's option next to this next car that was sold for $3.3 million at an auction. Number 46. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. Now, let's talk about the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, a car that recently sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $3.3 million. Just like every other car on this list, the Dodge Charger Daytona is a rare beast, and one of the most collectible cars out there, but it's not as rare as some of the cars on our list. So why will anyone pay so much for it? To put it mildly, this particular Dodge comes maxed out with a 426 CI engine, a 4-speed manual transmission, and a list of features like its 4.1 Super Track Pack option that will make even Jay Leno green with envy. While it comes so early on in our list, the Dodge Charger Daytona is only behind 3 cars for the most expensive muscle car ever sold. All 3 other cars are on this list, so keep an eye out. Now, it's time we kick things up a notch. We are about to enter another realm of exclusivity, as only less than 500 of the following muscle cars were ever produced. Number 45. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. First in this new realm of exclusivity is the 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. The Buick GSX Stage 1 is one of the most powerful classic muscle cars you're ever going to see. It packs a punch with its massive 7.5-liter V8 engine, delivering a solid 360 horsepower and a jaw-dropping 510 pound-feet of torque. This muscle car can rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.5 seconds, a pretty impressive feat for the 70s. The front suspension featured an independent coil spring setup with unequal length control arms, while the rear was supported by a 4-link suspension system with coil springs. This combination made the GSX Stage 1 not just powerful, but incredibly composed on the road. After all, with great power comes even greater control, or is it responsibility? The most recent GSX Stage 1 sold went for $162,000, but average sales for this Transformers-looking car is somewhere around $136,000. Today, the 1970 GSX Stage 1 is one of the most sought-after muscle cars of the era, and for many, it's Buick's greatest muscle car. Some might argue this next car isn't exactly a muscle one, but just give it a chance. Number 44. 1971 Ford XY Falcon GTHO Phase 3. Moving down under, the 1971 Ford XY Falcon GTHO Phase 3 was Australia's answer to the muscle car mania. During the 60s and 70s, the muscle car mania didn't just rev up engines in the US, it made its way to Australia too. The local branches of Ford, GM, and Chrysler got in on the action, cranking out high-performance versions of their homegrown models. Among the Aussie greats, the GTHO Phase 3 easily stands out and is essentially a homologation special based on the Falcon GT. The GTHO Phase 3 wasn't just a dressed-up Falcon GT. It came packed with major performance upgrades, like bigger brakes, a beefier suspension, and a larger fuel tank. But the star of the show was its custom-tuned 351 CI 5.7-liter Cleveland V8, modestly rated at 300 horsepower. Back in the day, this beast earned the title of the fastest four-door sedan in the world, capable of sprinting from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 6.4 seconds and tearing through the quarter mile in 14.4 seconds. Only offered in 1971, this legendary model was built in a limited run of just 300 units, but only about 100 of which are still kicking around today. This next car doesn't kick, it slides. Number 43. 2000 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra R. Next on our list is Ford's 2000 Mustang SVT Cobra R. This car stands out as the fastest factory-produced Mustang and boasts a 5.4-liter V8 engine developed by Ford's Special Vehicle Team, SVT, generating an impressive 385 horsepower. With this powertrain, the Cobra R could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.4 seconds and complete the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds, reaching a top speed of 170 miles per hour. It was designed to excel both on the track and the road. The Cobra R's design emphasized high performance. The car featured track-ready brakes capable of halting from 60 miles per hour in just 127 feet. To enhance agility and reduce weight, unnecessary amenities and comfort features were stripped away. Inside, Recaro racing seats offered substantial support during high-speed cornering. The exterior was outfitted with dual side-exit exhausts, a front splitter, and a high-mount rear wing, all contributing to improved stability and handling. With only 300 units produced and available exclusively in Performance Red Clear Coat, the Mustang Cobra R puts the special in SVT. Our next car is super, and just like Superman, it had only one flaw: it came too early. Number 42. 1973 Pontiac Trans Am SD455. The 1973 Pontiac Trans Am Super Duty 455 was born as the muscle car era was winding down. Even though it was equipped with the Super Duty 455 engine, initially rated at 310 horsepower, this Pontiac Trans Am is still a step down when compared to its predecessors. Pontiac only managed to build 252 units of the 73 Trans Am SD455 before the switch to the 74 model year. The 74 model is also rare, with roughly 1,000 examples produced before the SD455 was discontinued due to further regulatory changes. Because of its limited production, the 73 Trans Am SD455 is highly valued, with Hagerty estimating its worth at $116,000 in good condition. In contrast, the 74 model is valued at around $44,700 in the same condition. Seems like the company just kept watering down one of its most recognizable vehicles. Up next is another easily recognizable vehicle from Pontiac. Number 41. 1968 Pontiac Firebird Ram Air 2. Coming in hot is the 1968 Pontiac Firebird Ram Air 2. With only 246 examples ever built, 199 of them with a 4-speed manual transmission and 47 with an automatic, this GTO is a true gem. The 1968 GTO primarily featured the original Ram Air package for most of its production run, with the Ram Air 2 introduced as an option later in the year, though Pontiac didn't treat it as a separate model. Despite this, the Ram Air 2 was a significant upgrade, offering superior performance thanks to tons of specially developed components. Its time in the spotlight was brief, as it was quickly succeeded by the Ram Air 3 in 1969. However, many enthusiasts argue that the Ram Air 2's real-world performance outshines that of the 3. Where do you stand? This blend of exceptional performance and rarity has kept the value of the 68 GTO Ram Air 2 high. According to Hagerty, a good-condition Ram Air 2 is valued at around $86,000, but the most pristine, Concours-ready models can easily reach into six figures. This next car gives us a much-needed break from Pontiac. Number 40. 1963 Ford Galaxy 500 Lightweight. Next on our list is the 1963 Ford Galaxy 500 Lightweight. This car represents a high watermark in American drag racing history, built with a singular goal: to conquer the NHRA Super Stock class. Ford's approach was strategic and innovative, focusing on slashing weight while packing in raw, unbridled power. Under the hood, the Galaxy 500 Lightweight was powered by a 427 cubic inch V8 engine that blasted an impressive 425 horsepower. This engine was a marvel of engineering, featuring high-flow cylinder heads, a solid lifter camshaft, and dual 4-barrel carburetors. With a 4-speed manual transmission, it could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 6 seconds, a blistering pace for its era. To earn its lightweight moniker, Ford made extensive use of aluminum for the bumpers, hood, and fenders, and swapped the trunk lid for fiberglass. Inside, any non-essential features like sound-deadening material, heaters, and radios were stripped away. These modifications shaved off about 425 pounds compared to the standard Galaxy. Despite its formidable performance and engineering excellence, only 212 units of this racing legend were built for reasons best known to Ford. Can you talk about muscle cars without Donnie Yenko? One of his many special cars is next on our list. Number 39. 1969 Chevrolet Yenko Camaro. Up next is the iconic 1969 Chevrolet Yenko Camaro. Don Yenko teamed up with General Motors to craft a limited run of specially modified Camaros. Built on the first-generation Chevrolet Camaro and originally released in 1966 to rival the Ford Mustang, the Yenko Camaro was all about taking performance to the next level. Under the hood, the 1969 Yenko Camaro packed a powerful punch with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering impressive power and acceleration. But Yenko didn't stop there. The car was also equipped with upgraded suspension and braking systems, turning it into a street-legal speed demon. Visually, the Yenko Camaro made a statement with its bold Yenko emblems on the grille and rear panel, aggressive lines, and optional racing stripes that only added to its intimidating presence. Today, the 1969 Yenko Camaro is a prized collector's item, celebrated for its limited production, top-tier performance, and timeless design. Yenko was always pushing the boundaries of what was possible with muscle cars, and Pontiac did the same when it made the next car on our list that became one of the fastest cars of the 60s. Number 38. 1962 Pontiac Catalina SD. The next car is Pontiac's Catalina Super Duty. Aside from being one of the rarest Pontiacs ever, the Catalina Super Duty was also one of the fastest, reaching 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds. Strange? Don't worry, we understand. The Catalina was designed like an everyday car, but its impeccable speed and its 421 CI aluminum V8 engine that churned 465 horses made this car a beast on the racetrack. However, it can be pretty frustrating trying to drive the Catalina Super Duty outside the racetrack as its handling is not suited for everyday commutes. However, this little problem has not stopped many car enthusiasts from chasing this sleeper car at auctions. The only problem is Pontiac made only 162 of these pure sleeper racers. So, they are pretty rare and most owners love Catalina too much to part with it. It's no wonder that in the past 5 years, only 4 of these cars have been put up for auction and only 1 has been sold. So good luck. If you do want to buy one regardless, you best be carrying wads of cash because a Catalina in fair condition can set you back $48,000. A good one will cost $64,000, and a preem one will set you back $100,000. It's no Dodge Charger Daytona, but this mundane-looking sleeper car is pretty valuable, however. In a bit of speed, it's losing to this next car from Plymouth. Number 37. 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. Next on our list is the fastest muscle car of the 70s, the 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. There is no doubt that this car was built for racing, and it excelled. The Hemi Superbird was one of the first cars to break the 200 miles per hour barrier, which made it an overnight success at NASCAR. Plymouth wanted to leave its competition in its rearview mirror. So, after fitting this heavily streamlined car with a monstrous V8 engine, the engineers played around with aerodynamics. They gave this vehicle enormous wings to fly, and it did. In the end, 1,935 street-legal Superbirds found their way to buyers, with the race version clinching the 1970 Grand National title. Among these, only 135 units were equipped with the legendary Hemi engine. Today, these rare Hemi Superbirds are highly coveted, often fetching millions at auctions. One standout example is an orange Superbird that made headlines when it sold for a whopping $1.65 million at a Barrett-Jackson auction in 2022, setting the bar as the most expensive of its kind. The Superbird was like the Plymouth Roadrunner in many ways, including a nudge to Looney Tunes Roadrunner. However, While the Roadrunner had the animated character's badge, the Superbird's horn was made to sound like the animated character, making this vehicle truly special. Number 36. 1964 Ford Thunderbolt. Another Ford makes it to our list. This time it's the 1964 Ford Thunderbolt. Ford took performance seriously with the Thunderbolt, implementing several weight-saving measures. The car was designed with a singular focus on drag racing. Only 127 units of this beast were ever produced, making it a rare and iconic piece of automotive history. The 64 Thunderbolt featured fiberglass hoods and bumpers, plexiglass windows, and stripped-down interiors, all designed to enhance speed and agility. Under the hood, it roared with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, delivering a staggering 425 horsepower. Paired with either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic transmission, this powerhouse could blaze through the quarter-mile in the low 11-second range, a feat that was nothing short of spectacular for its time. Next up is an ultra-rare Chevy with a special engine. Number 35. 1970 Chevrolet Nova LT1 Copo. Number 35 is the 1970 Copo LT1 Nova, the rarest Chevy muscle car with a small block from the 70s. As the Camaro project wound down in the early 1970s, Yenko set his sights on the Nova, adding his signature performance tweaks to this compact model. He ordered 125 Novas through the Copo, or Central Office Production Order Program. These came equipped with the small but mighty LT1 small block V8, an engine typically found in Camaros and Corvettes. This 350 cubic inch powerhouse delivered 360 horsepower straight to the Nova's rear wheels. Yenko also chose the Copo 9737 package, making these Novas more than just fast. They were complete performance machines, built to dominate the streets. This package included an upgraded suspension system with beefier springs, improved shocks, and new sway bars to handle the extra power. A limited slip differential was also part of the deal, ensuring that all that horsepower made it to the pavement effectively. Once Yenko got his hands on these cars, he added his personal touches, swapping out the wheels for his own custom design and fitting extras like a hood-mounted tachometer and distinctive Yenko decals. These final touches made the cars not just high-performance machines, but also unmistakable on the road, unlike this next car that feels like you've seen it even in this video. Number 34. 1993 Ford SVT Mustang Cobra R. Next on the list is another beast from Ford's special vehicle team, the 1993 Ford DVT Mustang Cobra R. The 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R holds a special place in American muscle car history as the first of its kind, designed to be the ultimate expression of the Fox body Mustang. Ford's special vehicle team spared no effort in crafting a car that emphasized raw performance and racing pedigree. To achieve this, SVT engineers stripped away 450 pounds of excess weight and fitted the Cobra R with the largest brakes they could muster. The car received a strut brace and a V-brace to enhance shell rigidity, ensuring a robust driving experience. The braking system featured heavy-duty 13-inch Kelsey Hayes vented rotors up front and 10.5-inch vented rotors in the rear, making it a formidable performer on both the street and the track. Under the hood was a 5.0-liter Windsor V8 engine, delivering 235 horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 280 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, with a compression ratio of 9:1. Performance stats for the time were impressive. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds and a braking distance from 60 to 0 miles per hour of 140 feet. With only 107 units produced, the 1993 SVT Mustang Cobra R remains a rare and sought-after gem for enthusiasts and collectors alike. Alright, folks, buckle up because, for the remainder of this video, you're only going to see cars with less than 100 units produced starting with this next Mustang. Number 33. 1970 Ford Mustang Twister. First on our under 100 category is the 1970 Ford Mustang Twister, conceived in 1970 for American Raceways International, ARI. These Mustangs were intended to serve as pace cars and limited editions featuring distinctive side stripes and graphics. However, the ARI met bankruptcy and Ford's Special Promotions division had to pivot, repurposing the concept into a special regional promotion for the Kansas City Dealer Sales District. Named after the frequent Midwest tornadoes, the Twister Special Saw 96 Mach 1s receive a unique makeover. Each of these rare models was painted in vibrant grabber orange and came with a black interior. The cars featured a functional shaker hood scoop, power steering, and power front disc brakes. What set the Twister Specials apart were their bold black mid-level side stripes and tornado decals on the rear quarter panels. As top-tier Mach 1s, these models were equipped with grille-mounted fog lights, aluminum lower rocker panels, a black honeycomb rear panel, competition suspension, and a 3.50 traction lock differential. This Ford Special is now among the rarest and most sought-after Mustangs, making them a prized find for collectors. Next is another rare Ford of a different caliber from the Twister, and unlike any car you've seen on this list. Number 32. 1966 Ford Fairlane 500R Code. Next is the Ford Fairlane 500R Code. Released in 1966, this vehicle marked Ford's serious entry into the high-performance arena dominated by GM and Chrysler. At the heart of the R-Code Fairlane 500 was Ford's legendary 427 cubic inch side-oiler V8 engine. This side-oiler design referred to the engine's unique oiling system, which prioritized the main bearings for improved reliability under high-stress conditions. The R-Code 427 was packed with high-performance features, including forged pistons, high-flow cylinder heads, a hot camshaft, and dual Holley 4-barrel carburetors. These enhancements allowed the engine to produce a conservatively rated 425 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque, making the Fairlane 500 R-Code one of the most powerful cars of its time. Despite its extraordinary performance, the R-Code Fairlane 500 was a sleeper in terms of appearance. Its understated exterior was largely indistinguishable from the standard Fairlane 500, except for a few subtle cues. The most noticeable of these was its fiberglass hood, which featured a prominent scoop designed to feed air to the high-revving 427 engine. Inside, the car was equipped with a dash-mounted tachometer, hinting at its true performance potential. The 1966 R-Code Fairlane 500 production numbers were extremely low, with only 57 units built. This car had us at tachometer, but it can't match this next car that is a famous racing legend. Number 31. 1963 Chevrolet Impala Z11. Next on our list is Chevrolet's 1963 Impala Z11. Arguably the meanest Impala ever produced, the Z11 was born during Detroit's drag racing craze. A lightweight Impala fitted with a massive 427 cubic inch V8 engine and a descendant of the legendary 409. The Z11 unleashed a jaw-dropping 430 horsepower and a colossal 575 pound-feet of torque, making it a force to be reckoned with on the strip, well before Chrysler's 426 Hemi entered the scene. Stripped of all unnecessary equipment, this Impala became the first stock car to break 120 miles per hour in the quarter-mile. Among the Z11 legends is Old Reliable, the most iconic of the bunch, which dominated the drag racing world with a 90% win rate during the 1963 and 1964 seasons. With just 57 units ever built, the Z11 is one of the rarest Impalas around, and also the most expensive. Pristine examples can fetch over $350,000, with the original Old Reliable holding the record at an impressive $525,000. Okay, let's switch things up a little bit by bringing not one but two different cars that are identical twins. Number 30. 1967 Dodge Coronet W023 and Plymouth Belvedere R023. Let's talk about two drag strip legends from 1967, the Dodge Coronet W023 and the Plymouth Belvedere R023. These two road-legal beasts were built for one thing: speed. On the surface, they were almost identical, with a few minor tweaks and badges to tell them apart. But under the hood, they packed serious heat. Mopar's brand new 7-liter Hemi V8, pushing out 425 horsepower. These cars were stripped down to their bare essentials: no radio, no heater, and in many cases, no rear seat. Even the battery was moved to the trunk for better weight distribution. And speaking of weight, the Coronet took things even further with a unique setup: lighter brakes in the front and heavier ones in the rear to give those slicks extra grip off the line. Only 55 of each were made, making them rare, road-legal dragsters designed to dominate the track. And if you think this is wild, Wait till you see what's coming up next with the 1970-71 Plymouth. You won't believe what they did with that one. Number 29. 1970-71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Next on our list is this 1970-71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Plymouth didn't produce many drop-top versions of the Cuda back in the day. Only 21 Hemi-equipped Cuda convertibles were built in total, just 10 in 1970 and 11 in 1971, making it a serious contender for the rarest American muscle car title. The low production numbers were partly due to the car's hefty price tag, which was on par with other high-performance legends like the aforementioned Ford Mustang Boss 429 and the Shelby GT350. The Plymouth Barracuda underwent a complete redesign for the 1970 model year, and for the first time in its history, it was finally eligible for the mighty 426 Street Hemi. The dedicated Hemi Cuda trim packed an incredible amount of power into the relatively compact pony car, making it the quickest mopar of the classic muscle car era. Up next, we have a model from Oldsmobile equipped with advanced outside air induction. Number 28. 1966 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442 OAI. Next up, we have the 1966 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442, a true symbol of muscle car excellence. In 1966, Oldsmobile produced a limited number of W30 models specifically designed for stock drag racing. Under the hood, these machines roared with a 400 cubic inch V8 engine featuring triple two-barrel carburetors. This powertrain delivered exceptional performance and cemented the 442's place in muscle car history.